Hi, this is Chris from the Stephanie Miller Show. Please enjoy this exclusive clip from Political Voices Network.
I don't think I slept. I was too busy loading for Bear.
Oh,
good morning.
Hi.
Yes, Julie in Seattle said it best, GOP on the Sunday show. So do I have this right? Republicans stand with Israel so long as they don't have to stand with the American president, who is standing with Israel.
Right.
Got it. Okay, we didn't even need to take crazy pills to go in 3, 2, 1. How is this Biden's fault?
Right.
And but I swear to God, when there are things this horrific going on in the world, it is a new level of despicable for Republicans. First of all, they know they are telling lies.
Yep. They
know that not a cent of Iran's assets have been unfrozen.
Right.
Not a cent of American taxpayer money. At the same time, I'm like, where is the mainstream media? Who shared Israeli intelligence with the Russians in the Oval Office? This is what happens when you have not just a traitor in the office, but someone that doesn't understand who our enemies and who our friends are in the world. Russia's not our friend. Iran is not our friend. Russia shared this, I'm sure, with Iran. Sure. They didn't need American taxpayer money. They had American intelligence about Israeli information. Okay. Sorry. I don't even know where to start.
You're in a state.
Midas
She
Touch,
is in a
among
state.
others, said, flashback, Trump shared classified intelligence from Israel with Russia and admitted to it. Israeli intelligence feared it would end up in the hands of Iran.
Yeah.
First of all, how about blaming Hamas? And how about blaming Netanyahu?
Yeah.
How is this Biden's fault? Oh my God, Kristen Welker is no better than Chuck Todd.
I know.
Right? She's just like asking Secretary Blinken, is this an American intelligence failure?
How?
Well, let's start with Israeli and Netanyahu.
It's definitely an Israeli intelligence.
And by the
failure.
way, it's not a contradiction to say Netanyahu is a crook and a thug, and Hamas is a terrorist organization. You don't have to.
And might I add, it's not anti-Semitic to say so.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you.
You can be against the far-right policies of a particular government without being against all of its people.
Thank you.
Trump is the only one, Chris, threatening American Jews.
Yes.
Because they don't vote the right way,
right.
meaning for him.
That's right.
And Chris, you were saying this before the show. I know I shouldn't. I was like, we shouldn't start talking about this now because we were just like,
Okay, what I say.
You just said this is exactly what you were saying last week. They left us without a speaker, without an ambassador to Israel.
I said, quote, should something catastrophic happen, we have nobody in the House who can do anything about it.
Yeah.
And look what happened. Because of the Republicans' incompetence.
Except going on the Sunday shows and yapping about how it's Biden's job, right? They can do, as Conor McGregor would say, in Norton, they can do nothing. They have no speaker.
Excuse me.
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to get that in here in my international crisis.
Yeah.
Don't.
Now Ireland will be after us.
Yeah.
Ruth Ben-Ghiat, who's an authoritarian scholar, said the purpose of the military, Tuberville, and diplomatic, Rand Paul, obstructions was exactly this, to leave the Biden administration looking unprepared in a crisis, deluding the public into believing that a strong man is needed to restore U.S. power and influence. I mean, yes, a traitor that probably partially caused this, right? I mean, it just, Rachel Bidikofer said, Republicans have gutted the senior command of our military, left the House with no speaker, left Israel with no U.S. ambassador, and tell me again how it's Biden's fault. By the way, Malcolm Nance, as he does, because intelligence is his...
It's his herb.
It's his herb. It's his bag, baby.
Yes.
It is.
But if he does, we obviously talk about his Substack every week, but it is worth your time. Julie in Seattle sent it to me. Mama, in his Substack, your dreamy, shouty best friend, Malcolm Nance, is doing a much better job than the mainstream media, laying down what's going on in Israel. Here he dissects how Hamas was able to evade Israeli intelligence to stage and carry out a huge surprise attack. And an opinionated non-expert me would add that maybe it's not a great idea in these perilous times to put a corrupt, indicted, unprincipled, autocratic bastard person in charge of your country because they're likely to be obsessed with saving their own ass as opposed to doing their job. You know what confirms that? Israel's New York Times.
Yep.
Right? It laid this entirely at Netanyahu's feet. Anyway, she says, I may now briefly torture myself with the Sunday shows just to see who's booked Republicans who want to make Trump president again, can't even run in their own party, have not even been briefed on the attack, yet somehow know that the Hamas attack is Biden's fault because insert Norama's evidence-free rat talking points here. I bet they dust off the embolden the terrorists from the Obama days. And yes, they did. But just quickly, Malcolm wrote... Given the scope, complexity, and impact of this attack, the incursion is a massive failure of Israeli intelligence. Despite pundits who will be tempted to call this an American failure, it's not. They always talk about America first. They're America last.
Oh, absolutely.
They do not stand with America if it's good for Biden or stands with Biden in any way. Anyway, Malcolm writes, again, this is an Israeli failure on a massive level and reveals that their oppression of the Palestinian National Authority in the West Bank likely closed intelligence sharing loops that could have provided indicators of possible secret plan by Hamas. Israel's sharp veering to the right, backing settlers to seize Palestinian lands extra legally, and indiscriminate killing of thousands of civilians every time there's an uprising have hardened anyone in the Palestinian community to ever breach the wall of silence. He's just talking strictly from an intelligence.
Absolutely.
That normally that's how you would get intelligence, is human intelligence, and they're not. So this is, I mean, we were just saying Dan Goldman and his family were there. Thank God they got out. I mean, this is horrifying. It's obviously confirmed that Americans have been killed. Yeah. The hostage taking videos are just
the woman in the wheelchair. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
I mean, it's yeah. Okay. Dean Obadala was the first one that alerted me to. It's Haaretz. Am I saying that right?
I believe so.
Haaretz? Yeah,
Haaretz.
the paper.
Haaretz.
He said, wow, Haaretz is the New York Times of Israel, says Netanyahu bears responsibility for the war because he, quote, completely failed to identify the dangers he was consciously leading Israel into when establishing a government of annexation and dispossession. A lot of people a lot smarter than me. I had to check and, because your first instincts are sort of like, oh my God, of course, because they blame Biden for everything.
Right.
But this is just the deadly consequences. I swear to God, Trump is just going to be, I don't know how many generations it's going to take to recover from this traitor, Again, old school railroader tweets, the narrative shouldn't be about the $6 billion sitting in a bank in Qatar. We need to know how Israel's defenses were so easily compromised. Hamas has never accomplished anything close to this before. It's as if they had classified intel on Israel. I mean, they keep doing the talking point that, this is the money that Biden gave to Iran. First of all, it's Iran's money, their assets. We did a prisoner swap. It is frozen in a bank in Qatar. It cannot be touched. It is closely supervised by the Treasury for only, humanitarian purposes. Right. They know that not a cent of it has been.
They don't care.
Yeah. Yeah, and Bill said, if you're planning to vote in the U.S. presidential election, you should read this editorial from the Israeli paper Haaretz, and particularly this part about how an indicted leader can enfeeble his nation's most vital institutions. I mean, oh my God, in my head just echoes Trump saying like 11 billion times, Hillary can't, she's going to be indicted. We can't have a nation go through that. We can't, she shouldn't be allowed to run. There's going to be endless investigations. Oh my God, can we just do not pass go, put him directly in jail? So
we're trying.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
Rude pundit coming up, but he just how did he say it? It's really just, you know it in your gut. He just kind of said, basically we all kind of know the world sort of went to Trump got in, and we're still on everything that got right.
In a sense, yes.
Yes. Sorry, I'm in a bleepy mood this morning.
I guess you are.
All right.
Yes. Okay.
Thank you for not cursing, though.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Keith Olbermann said, by the way, Congress can't pass any emergency financial aid to Israel right now, and not even a resolution condemning the terrorism or supporting Israel because the rude politician Republicans overthrew the speaker and can't stop infighting long enough to elect a new one. I mean, and I said, Chris, of course they have time to go on the Sunday shows and open their big yaps to blame Biden, but they're just, the chaos caucus over there. There's nothing you can do about it because you're... Okay.
They don't care. They don't have anybody in charge over there.
Exactly. Media Busters 6, our friends. Tweet, Taliban says it will destroy Jerusalem if allowed in Israel. Another inconvenient GOP truth. Trump released 5,000 Taliban and signed a deal to give them Afghanistan. When GOP hypocrites try to blame Democrats, share this picture. It's that famous, there's Pompeo standing there with the head of the Taliban shaking his hand.
Yep.
One more from Nita. They said, how corrupt is the corporate media? If you must suffer watching the Sunday shows, look for one. GOP liars still peddling the bull that Biden gave Iran $6 billion in assets, which is still frozen. Ask the GOP why they support Israel but not Ukraine after Russia illegally invaded. Thank you. I'm sorry. That's the other thing. These are the people that don't want to help Ukraine.
Yep.
But this is different? How is this different? How is this a terrorist attack on civilians? An unprovoked terrorist attack, and they're such hypocrites.
Yes.
Jared Moskowitz, who is fantastic, said this is the largest attack in Israel in 50 years. The response will be the largest response in 50 years. Blame Hamas. They knew Israel would respond in kind. They didn't care that this would get people in Gaza killed. Exactly. This is what I've been saying forever. It is not a contradiction to say strongly Hamas is a terrorist organization. They are not equivalent to the Palestinian people.
Exactly.
And Netanyahu is a corrupt crook. He is not, synonymous with the Israeli people.
Exactly.
And okay, sorry. Did anyone else want to get a word in? I'm sorry.
Well, and
It's a Stephanie Miller show.
Yes.
so-
Sorry.
I'm
in a mood.
Along the lines of what Moskowitz was saying,
Yeah.
Israel has just ordered a complete siege of Gaza.
Oh, wow.
All access will be blocked, meaning no electricity, no food, no water, no fuel
Yeah.
will be allowed into the long blockaded Gaza Strip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So this is really serious.
They were saying that they were going to let civilians out in time, but
I don't know.
Yeah.
Don't know now.
Dr. Mia Brett said, I don't have to twist myself at all to oppose all forms of oppression. Hating both Hamas and Netanyahu while wanting liberation for Palestinians and safety for Jews is completely consistent.
Sure.
I'm telling you, it's our crazy right-wing caucus that twists all of this, that can stand on the floor and say, Ukraine doesn't deserve our support. And then,
And don't let the people on the far right call you anti-Semitic for opposing these policies.
Yeah.
These are the policies of our particular government, not of the Jewish people.
And yes, I am wearing a peace T-shirt today because obviously it's what we all would like. And it is completely consistent to say George Bush illegally attacked a country that didn't attack us. Mm-hmm. Putin illegally attacked a country that didn't attack him. Mm-hmm. And Hamas illegally attacked a country that didn't attack them. If you're going to stand for, yes, it's a little more complicated, obviously, in Israel.
Yeah.
And, as we already talked about some of the factors Malcolm Nance talked about as well. I've always thought Netanyahu is just a complete disgrace. Yeah. And this is, again, Trump is our Netanyahu.
Yeah.
Like, what, are we paying attention
They're both
to
far-right
the lessons?
thugs.
Yes. Are we paying attention to the lessons that we're learning here? Unfortunately, super tragically. There it is, my first drink of the day, Z-Biotics Pre-Alcohol Probiotic. Many of you know my story. I stopped drinking wine for 3 years during COVID, during the lockdown as part of a health reset. Now I drink wine in moderation, but this is an amazing new product. I've always believed in probiotics. And Z-Biotics, check this out. You drink just one of these. It's the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. I am using this and I feel great in the morning. I don't have to worry if I have an extra glass of wine, I still feel great in the morning. Here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. I've always had acid reflux problems. It is this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for your rough next day. Z-Biotics produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. All I know is it works. It is Z-Biotics Pre-Alcohol Probiotic. Go to zbiotics.com/politicalvoices or scan the QR code on the screen right now.